What's up, everybody? All right. This is our first of 5 power hours. And I would, I'm a betting gal, so I'll say this one might just have the most fire of them all. We're going to start out blazing hot with 3 of the most inspirational people I watched through the screen for a long time before I've gotten to actually meet and hug each one of them. And if you think they're great online, you got to meet them in person because they are the real freaking deal. And that's why I reached out to Alec and I was like, we need these 3 on day 1 for our power hour. I want to welcome Miss Krystal, Ben, and Rodney. Thank you for being here with us today.
We're thrilled. We're thrilled to be here.
Big love. Big love.
So I want to pick up right where Sean was at. And he said, if the world would turn from focusing on all the stuff out there and focus really in on getting strong as fuck, then it would all solve itself. And I was like, yeah, there's that mic drop moment. And I look to each of you, but I also know you all have a story. And what people see now isn't what always was. But at some point in your life, you hit a crisis moment way before COVID that you dug deep into that thing and figured out how to find that strength. I'd love to hear from each of you going back before we come into this present now. Krystal, you want to take us first?
Yes. My God. Honestly, if people knew me at the point that I was at my lowest, they would never believe who I am now. And I've always had a big mouth. I've always stood up for the underdog. I've always been a powerhouse of a person, but there were a couple of times in different chapters of my life where depression nearly took me out of this realm. I was ready to go. I was like, get me out of here. I'm done. And it was a crazy journey with my nutrition mostly that led me down a path of insane depression, anxiety, and even suicidal tendencies for many different times in my life, like I said. So before this whole thing happened, I was on a world tour for 2.5 or 3 years. And I was the most unhappy that I had ever been. And I was flying private jets and this rock star lifestyle. And it did nothing but make me feel dead inside. And I completely lost myself. I'm a creator. I'm an artist. Since I could walk, I was dancing, and I had none of those things. And it was, every day was very, very redundant. And I was in a relationship that was really hard, and we were both on the road together. And it just led me to a really, really dark path. And this actually led up to February of 2020. So we had gotten off tour in late November. December we had off. January, February went to London, and then all of this kind of went down. But, leading backwards to when I was on tour, it was the darkest moments of my life. There were times where I would be in the hotel, or I would be going back to the hotel room after a show, or just getting out of the hotel room. And I would be afraid to actually go in. I'm afraid that I'm going to do something and I will never see this realm again. And it was a really, really dark place. And so many people can't ever even imagine me being in that place. But I think because of those experiences that I had, that so many people can relate to it, because I healed myself. I was more or less addicted to antidepressants from when I was 15 years old to about 22. And I weaned myself off them. I never drank, never did drugs, nothing like that in my life. And here I was in my life having this little tiny pill control my every move. If I didn't take it by a certain time, I felt sick and I had stomach aches and all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm addicted to this. And never in my life would I think of myself as being able to be addicted to something like a substance like that. So after I had weaned myself off, I went vegan. And then I started to get really depressed again. I wasn't getting enough nutrition and all this stuff. And then I found sea moss. I found Irish sea moss fairly recently, within the last 5 years. And my depression, anxiety, everything in my brain just balanced out, and I've never looked back since. So my whole healing journey has been with herbal supplements, and number one for me has been sea moss. So that was just a very short version of a very long journey with depression and even suicidal tendencies. So that led me to March of 2020, and my video went viral at the end of March or the beginning of April. It was April 4th, actually. And then I've never looked back since then. So as many people that have been suffering throughout this time, I actually have flourished. I found myself, I found my voice, and I found my real purpose. So that's where, that's how I am You know?
And I mean, from someone who's like watched you from afar, you know, in those different videos, it's like, I can't imagine you being in those dark spaces. And so for anybody
Amazing.
watching, we've gotten lots of text messages and Telegram messages of people saying like, this is a lifeline. They're like, they're feeling isolated. They're feeling alone. We got people tuning in
Yeah.
from all over the world that aren't able to move about as freely as we are in the United States. And a message like that that says like, hey, even in the dark, like you can tap into that light within. Now I know, Ben, you got a story like that?
You know, it's for me, it's also, it was a journey. I'm 48 years old now. And when I was 44, I was depressed. I fell back into the corporate world. I was out of shape. And I was actually at a vegan fest in Tulum, Mexico. And there were some inspiring fitness, plant-based fitness folks on stage. And I looked at them and they're on stage and they were inspiring me. I said, look at what they're doing. They're talking about how it's a better diet to help the environment, which was my degree. They were talking about just the health implications and reversing disease and the animals. And these were the things I was passionate about. And it was that spark where I just had enough inspiration, along with seeing a picture of myself with my shirt off, triggered me to just say, that's it. When I come home from Mexico, I'm going to transform my life. I'm in this dead end corporate job after 15 years of just feeling like I'm not living my fullest life. Mm. And it was finally just enough pain and frustration and having enough where it was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I literally just gave it my all. I went back, I got a clear plan. And that launched me into going from like 18% body fat and cleaning up my junk food diet into down to 10% body fat and down to 7.5% body fat, you know, just through dedication, focus, and committing to something. Mm. But what's really interesting is this really isn't just about, I didn't realize how much my external life was going to change. It's the idea that I focused and put health as a priority. My confidence skyrocketed. It gave me this platform. People said, how did you do the transformation? Which gave me more of a voice. And then the confidence builds upon the confidence. And so there was just this sense of just finding my voice. And I finally found a voice, and it was just an internal transformation as much as it was an external transformation. Mm-hmm. And then coming around just 2 years ago, I was faced again with also some more insecurities about speaking up about what's going on. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to share, but I realized this is my business. This is my career. I have clients. I have family. And so there was a fear of me facing the reality of a higher sense of myself, of a greater level and a higher level of integrity that I wasn't in alignment with. And so that journey began too, just stepping out and getting to the point where I finally got in alignment with what I was saying. What I was thinking on the inside was now aligning with what I'm saying and what I'm doing. And so, you know, I've really had two massive transformations in the last couple of years. And, you know, so yeah, my story appears, most people see the outside, but the inside has changed for me just as much.
And I have enough of these conversations where we almost are like the cat with 9 lives, right? Like you have to be able to brave letting your old self die and letting go, and in this trust of something better is coming. And I know, Rodney, because we got to chat. So I'm super excited for this one. Bring us into, like, I mean, look at this guy who shows up in front of 85,000 people, somebody who's confident, tapped in, tuned in. How'd you get there?
Well, we were born naked. And when we talk about what I'm going to talk about when we get further on into this process is what we were in the amniotic sac before we took our first breath when we entered planet Earth. And we're going to understand that more when I get deeper into it. But I have a nice relation to Krystal and Ben's story, because she talked about being on the road and on tour. I was on the TV show Survivor, and people think like getting fame and living that wild lifestyle.
I was afraid of that. So until Rodney can cut back in, and we'll pick right up. Oh, he's coming. All right.
Did you lose me? My
We
bad.
did.
Yeah, you're breaking the matrix. Go again.
I'm breaking. They don't want me. They don't want me saying what I gotta say. But how is everything good? Is everything good?
You're
We good now? Okay. So basically, I could relate to what Krystal was saying, because when you're on that road, I was on the TV show Survivor, and people think that fame, the riches, all that would be fun, and that's what you want to chase. But that's what this matrix is designed to tell us. And with Ben and Krystal, it's about the depression, and depression is when you're at a deep rest with no expression. So when you are stuck in that spot, and then you finally go on this journey. Mine is similar to theirs, but I then took it to the next level. Whereas I did the whole vegan, and then I went from vegan, I went to plant-based, and then from plant-based, I went to alkaline, and then from alkaline, I went to liquiditarian, and then now I'm where I'm at now at plasmatarian, which a lot of people probably haven't heard about. But it all stemmed from who I was broken down by growing up or losing loved ones. I had a fear of death. I came home to find my sister dead from a drug overdose with my family. My cousin, my big bro, also died of an overdose, and I had people around me die. So my fear was death, and everybody around me, and I wanted to make sure I could be the healthiest I could be and make my family proud of me while I'm here on planet Earth. And that's what I intend to do, is live out my purpose through my passion to the day that I leave planet Earth and I tap into where we're truly from. I can't hear. I don't know what's going on.
How about now?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
I mean, I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry. I really don't know what's going on. This is crazy. It was working fine when we were starting, so I don't know.
No,
So
you're good.
we'll turn to the next question. I'm going to manifest that your internet's going to self-correct itself. But I want to know some of the tactical and practical. Krystal, I'll start with you because you dropped CMOS, and I also know you're really passionate about 5G. So if you could give people the skinny, I mean, those are like, especially 5G, it's a big topic, but like take us into the heart of those things and how it can transform the way you heal and the way you feel.
Well, I can start with my own experience with 5G. When I was in quarantine, I was in Philly for most of it, and I went back to LA, and there was a small cell tower that was placed above my bedroom, unbeknownst to me, until probably the second night. First night, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was like, I'm jet lagged. Second night, same thing, but I couldn't breathe, started having anxiety. Next day, I woke up feeling really nauseous, and all these symptoms kept increasing. I had really bad heart palpitations late at night when I would be in bed. Couldn't sleep at all. It was just like my brain was just on a buzz constantly. I was shaking. I was on the verge of panic attacks all the time, which I never had a panic attack, but I definitely know what it felt like after that. And I had spent a lot of time on my roof of my building doing yoga videos and stuff, filming up there. So I went up there. Surely enough, there was a small cell tower that they placed right above my bedroom, lived there for 12 years, was on that roof for 12 years. So I know everything that was up there. So with that being said, I learned what it was like to actually be radiated in my own living space and what the effects or how it could affect me. So I was already looking into 5G for the past like several years and talking about, that they're going to put up towers and everything. And everybody knows that they went up in the middle of the night in most cities, countries around the world. And so I became insanely passionate about that whole subject. When I went to my naturopath to tell them about my sensitivity to it, he said, well, you have a lot of toxic heavy metals in your body. I'm like, how the hell can that be? I'm vegan, I juice, I do this, I do that. And it just led me down a whole other path of healing that I never really tapped into. I was always into the food and then the herbs, obviously, but never thought about doing a heavy metal detox. And he said, you need to detox all the heavy metals in your body, because what happens when you put something in the microwave or aluminum in the microwave and you turn it on, it sparks. So that's the same thing for the inside of your body. If you have a lot of toxic heavy metals and you're exposed to any level of radiation, whether it's your cell phone, Wi-Fi, towers, anything like that, you could get a little bit sick, or you can get insanely sick up to, getting cancer and things like that from it. So me using the CMOS, I've been on that for 4 years. That does help to bring out some toxic heavy metals from the body, but I also just started my own heavy metal detox that I've been doing for the last several months that has helped. So that's a little bit about a background of 5G and how intense it really is. And there's a lot of symptoms that people really don't know what to look for, whether it's joint pain or memory lapses, can't focus or concentrate, sleep disturbances, nervousness. I had a dry cough, a hoarse voice, had flu-like symptoms. And as soon as I would leave my apartment, about an hour to 2 hours later, I would feel almost normal again. As soon as I went back in the apartment, I would experience the symptoms again. So I know that a lot of people are probably going through those type of symptoms and not really associating, well, wait, maybe it's my food, maybe it's the way that I slept and things like that. But a lot of people don't look at the Wi-Fi or the frequencies around us, and we're electrical beings. So it's just something worth talking about, because it's a subject that is like the stepchild that no one talks about. Like, we talk about the mandates and the vaccines and all that stuff, but 5G is often forgotten about. And it's a very key component in a lot of things that we're facing right now.
Well, and the paralysis of not being able to do anything about it, right? So again, the gumption that the three of you have of like, you got to grab a hold of the responsibility to make the change. So if I say like, what's the number one like reason for CMOS? You say like, why? Because I've heard you on a live say like, I won't go without this. What's the gotta have it when it comes to that?
It has tons of minerals in it, and pretty much all of us are depleted in minerals, whether it be the soil, the food, or anything like that. You know, Rodney will probably tap on that, but the CMOS has 92 out of 102 minerals, and then it has bladderwrack and shilajit to give you that whole 102 minerals that naturally occur in your body. So if you're constantly replenishing your body with the minerals, it's going to function a lot more optimally than if you just go with a diet that you think you're healthy. And I mean, so many people, I have a healthy diet. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to making up the minerals that you're losing all the time in your body, that's going to make a significant difference. So that's why I say I would never go without my CMOS for the rest of my being.
And then with 5G, you're not a victim of circumstance. That I'm certain of. So like with 5G, if we can't like escape it, or what do you do? What are a couple things that people can do to step into that hero?
I mean, there's so many different products, obviously. So if you wanted to take it from a legal standpoint, you can do what is called a notice of liability. It's an extensive process, but it is possible to help get those towers removed. So that's one thing. Lena's Fabulous Frequencies, she has a very, very amazing, probably 13 to 20 page notice of liability. You could use it as a legal document in court. So if you wanted to go that route, sure. Talking about protection. So I will never go without my Defender Shield. This is a phone case that literally will eliminate tons of radiation. I use my EMF reader to see how much it actually does work. And it went from really high numbers just with the plain cell phone. Then with this, it went down to almost nothing. So I always have this, and I always talk about men, they put their cell phone in their pocket. Women, I see, putting it in their bra and things like that. So there's small things that you can do like that. I was crazy enough to foil my whole wall with aluminum foil because it does eliminate a lot of radiation. So I know there are some people that just can't afford certain things. So I know you're not going to paper your walls. I did because I was desperate, but it is a very temporary alternative to help if you're in a situation where you can't move out or something like that. There's paints that have EMF protection. There are curtains, there are blankets. They now have t-shirts, hats, things like that. So there are definitely options. One other thing that I would recommend, since you're supposed to be not closer than 30 feet from your Wi-Fi router, which a lot of people are definitely not, get a Faraday cage. They're relatively cheap, or they can be expensive, anywhere from $25 up to probably $200 or more. Or you can make your own, just to keep and contain that radiation so that it's not spreading all over your living space, or some people even have it in their bedroom, which is obviously very dangerous. So those are just a few things that you can do. And sleep with your cell phone at least 6 feet from you, not under your pillow, not next to you, not on the floor. Get it away from you. That's it.
Right there.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, if you have your playbook out and you're writing some of those things down, then you can no longer say that 5G is this big bad wolf that I can do nothing about, because she just dropped it literally like
one more thing.
Yeah.
One more website, emfacademy.com. I don't know who runs it, but they have so much great information. It's all in one place, emfacademy.com.
Good. And guys, if you hit refresh on your page, I want to make sure you see the chat coming through, so that you can, share these things as they're dropping in, because as this material is available later, people are going to see those ahas and they're going to write them down. Okay. Now, Ben, each of you has such like similar and different things going on. I touched base with each of you and just said, like, what are you most passionate about right now? What do you think could really like bring a lot of healing to the planet? Ben, Ben, can you hear me? You look frozen too. Krystal, it
I'm
might be
here.
you and me.
Rodney, are you?
He's coming back.
Rodney's looking at me.
He's coming back.
Okay, I'm back.
He's here. You know, when you put this much light into the ether, there is bound to be. Alec got a flat tire this
100%.
morning on his way.
Oh,
Like, so I
geez.
mean, you know, there's those
Yeah.
opposing forces, which actually segues me perfect to Ben. I was just saying, like, I touched base with each of you of like, what's at the heart of you, what you most are passionate about right now. And you said, like, let's zoom out. Let's look at the division and where we can build bridges instead of tearing each other down. And that segregation, that polarity it's only making this harder. Can you speak to this and how we can come together in this time?
I'll tell a story. About a year ago this time, I was heading down to Florida, and the government DeSantis, he ended the mask mandate, and I said, okay, I think this is a place I'd like to go check out and see what they're doing there. And so on my way down, I run into two ladies, and one of them says to me, just walking by outdoors, and she says, "Where's your mask?" And she said it like kind of like really strong to me. And I looked at her and I said, "Well, didn't you hear the good news?" And she goes, "The good news?" I said, "Yeah, the good news about the virus." And she goes, "No, what's that?" I said, "Well, it has over a 99.7% survival rate." And she said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, you didn't know that." And so we're talking, and then I said the other one was younger, and I said, "How old are you?" She says, 21. I said, "You know, your survival rate's even higher." And so we just started breaking down. And I kid you not, within about 2 to 3 minutes of conversation, they ended up taking their masks off. And she goes, "Can you tell us more?" And I said, "Absolutely." I said, "Matter of fact, I was handing out some flyers here about the good news and the facts and the truth. And I was actually putting them up at different stops that I was passing on the way down to Florida." So I was doing the activism. I ran into it, and we talked for 20 minutes, gave a big maskless hug together, and went on my way. But the idea is, I think one of the things that we can do is approach people through kindness and love, and understanding that people are coming from fear. Of course, we look like the crazy people if they think that they're at. And one of the things about that interaction, before I told them the survival rates, I asked them what they thought theirs were. And the younger one said that she would have about a 1 in 3 chance of dying if she got the disease. And the mother said, "Well, I'm a little bit older, so I'd probably be about 1 in 2." So if people are really truly living in a deep fear, and I think that for us to come together and unify as humanity, it takes love, it takes kindness, and it also takes information. I think people have a hard time hearing and listening when they're really in a survival mode. And one of the things that can open it up is a smile, is eye contact, is kindness and compassion. So I think truly, as it's trite, but it's true, that we have to come from a deep place of love and compassion and truly get down to their level and understanding. They're really in fear. They're not bad people. We're not bad people. And when we can get on that common level, we can start to really reconnect humanity again.
And, you know, one thing that the thread that connects all of us is health, freedom for humanity. And Alec leads so beautifully from that space of compassion and grace and really trying to bring these connections. So when, not if, you get triggered, because I know you're human, you got to get triggered, you got to get fatigued, you got to get frustrated. We all do. When those triggers come, what do you do to balance that internal state and show up a different way?
You know, one thing I remind myself that it's okay to be triggered. You know, it's okay. I am human, and you know, to rise above is just to face the reality. You know, you find freedom through your imperfections, not through embracing your imperfections. And so, a lot of my meditation practice is recognizing, you know, it's okay to be this way and to feel this way, and it comes from a place of love. You know, a lot of times we think that the opposite of hate, of love is hate, but it's really indifference. The idea that when we feel this anger and this frustration, we just want to scream from the top of our lungs. Sometimes it's best to scream from the top of our lungs, but just transmute it a little bit into with love, because it's a built up energy that's just trying to give us the strength to break through to family, to break through to loved ones. But we just have to use that energy and be conscious with that level of compassion and understanding. And, you know, and one tip that I do is I'll do deep breathing as well. When it just comes to a place where I'm imbalanced, I'll do like the Wim Hof method or a series of deep breaths, and focus on a mantra, like basically saying, this is perfect too, or allow this to be as it is, and just kind of repeating that over and over. And those are some of the things that really just kind of help me to stay balanced and to remember, you know, the journey I'm at, and so that helps me.
Yeah, healing does not happen overnight, and we're in this thing for the long haul. You mentioned breath work. Rodney, breath is important to you. You shared in a conversation that I was without you, me and Alec, about your 3 Ds and breath work. You know, it was one of those. Talk to us about the importance of breath, and dehydration was another one of those. So can you talk to because I know people watching right now. Talk to us about those 3 Ds and how they can tap into their power. Oh, hold on.
Can you hear me?
Now go.
Now we can.
Let's go. So 3 Ds. Okay, we got density, dehydration, and diaphragmatic breath work. If you are loading yourself with density, regardless whether it is dead animals, regardless whether it is vegan, you are taking on density. They say we're made out of 70% water, but it is blood. So anytime that the blood gets acidic and toxic, and the main cause of disease, because I'm going to break this down slowly because I go on and on about this, is the dehydration. All disease lies in dehydrated organs, and especially when your main elimination pathway, your colon, is blocked, you now have suppression of your main elimination pathway, which 70% comes out of your mouth, breathing. So your main elimination is being covered with a mask. Then you're pounding yourself with either McDonald's, vegan food that's really dense, high density dead animals, no form of true hydration and minerals. And then we have a serious problem because now the lymphatic system's going, the digestive system's going. You got this nerve right here, the vagus nerve, the parasympathetic sympathetic nervous system. Then it's going down and connected into the gut. This avatar is so beautiful, and it is very, very simple. Anything that suppresses your breath takes away from your life force. So when I tell people, anytime that you choose to take from external earth, because everything you have from inside internally is everything you'll ever need, and that's how the ancestors live. If you choose to go from external earth, you have to make sure it's of high hydration. So coconut water, green juices, herbal teas, fruits, smoothies. The process of elimination is going to guide you to the path of tapping in to your waters, which is a story for another day, or maybe a story that we'll tap into here if people's cognitive dissonance and duality of their brain is ready, because Krystal brought up EMF protection. You could put up all the aluminum, all the orgonite, and do all that, which is very, very well. Any amounts of protection you can have is great, but God made you perfect, and you are a reflection of God, and your protection comes through the waters that you were bathing in for 9 months in the amniotic sac that you never returned to. 102 minerals. Krystal mentioned minerals. When you have to outsource them, they're all from within. You are made out of all 102, the boron, the phosphorus, the nitrogen, and the potassium. And I might mention the NPK, the nitrogen and potassium, is what exactly you need to grow your plants. They'll grow 10 times stronger. They will look 10 times more vibrant, and they'll grow 10 times faster and taste a lot better. And when I mention and I speak upon this, I am talking about your plasma ultrafiltrate, the scientific term for your urine. But we're shifting the paradigm and not calling it urine, and we're not calling it piss because you're drinking your piss, bro. No, we're shifting the paradigm, and we're calling it plasma because it is blood. You are taking blood that's distilled, that you've been lied to because you thought it was a waste product, but that same product creates life through semen. Semen's only 1% semen, 99% of what the urine is, which creates life. And this is something I created an entire course on that I'm going to be dropping. So if you really want to get in tune with who you are, you don't need anything. You are everything. And that's what I'm trying to do, is give people their power back.
Ah, okay.
I love it.
So Krystal, I know you were at the Truth About Cancer Symposium, and I do want to let's talk about, urine therapy, plasma therapy, and this fuel source, because it's popping up everywhere. And it is like dehydration is literally the root of dis-ease, chronic illness, cancers, you name it, mental health issues. I would love to just hear you guys share a little bit more about this. Let's throw some breadcrumbs of curiosity. Guys, I want to just stop before we start here real quick. Everybody watching, pretend that your mind and heart is wide open and that it's possible that a key that we're about to drop, even though it's like, hold on, are these people talking about drinking their own pee? Yes. And snorting it and doing enemas with it and bathing in it. Yes. So now that their hearts and minds are open, tell us why people should be open to this.
You want me to start? Okay, so I was Dr. Group did a lecture at the Truth About Cancer event, and I was so excited because it said golden therapy. I was like, is this what I think it is? Because Rodney and also Jason Churka had introduced me to this several months ago. And then I talked, at length with Rodney about it. Everybody wanted to talk to Rodney after he presented at the event in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the slides were so amazing. Like I took a lot of pictures that there are 3,000 nutrients in your urine. And I think Rodney, correct me if I'm wrong, there are 6 compounds that are not yet known to man that are found in urine. Is that right, Rod?
Yeah, well, because it's your liquid consciousness, which I'll tap into more. It's the biggest form of self-love you can ever do. And I'll let Krystal go on, but that's where people need to understand that this is more than just like, oh, you're a pee. It's more of shifting the paradigm of understanding of what this can do for you, like mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, self-love, and your divine protection and development, because that's what it was. In the amniotic sac, it was protection and development that created every part of your existence. So
I literally light up whenever I hear Rodney talk about it because he's so passionate about it. It's not something that you can just walk away from and say, oh, he has no idea what he's talking about. Like there's so much scientific evidence behind all of this. I think it's like the most researched topic out of everything or every function in the human body. What was really crazy was this whole list of things that it can help cure, anywhere from acne all the way to cancer to Rodney can probably list off everything, but it was literally like 4 different columns of everything that it can really cure. I've read about it can cure gout, sinusitis, colitis. There's no end in sight. And as Rodney always talks about, that you have everything in your body, and he'll get into this, that it is literally your own vaccine. It makes everything that your body needs. I was talking about it on a live the other night, and people are like, well, can I drink someone else's urine? I said, I'm going to have to ask Rodney about that. But as he says, and as I listen and I've read, that your urine is perfect for what your body needs. And there's certain times when you shouldn't drink it, which I'll leave that up to Rodney to discuss. But just introducing this idea to people has been really eye-opening for me, because the cognitive dissonance, people are like, are you saying to drink your pee? Like, is this what you want us to do? But once you really research and look into it, you'll understand, like, wow, maybe my whole life is a lie. Am I even alive? I don't know. But it's just a very, very interesting topic. I've been drinking it once a day, and Rodney's like, you got to get into it. You got to start looping and all this stuff. But I'd rather do it when I'm with him so that he could kind of guide me through it, and then I can really dive full force. And, people always ask, well, what does it taste like? It depends on what you eat. I ate something really salty last week, and it tasted really salty like miso soup. I was drinking watermelon juice for a while. It tasted sweet like watermelon juice, so it all depends. That's my kind of little 2 cents into it. And I'm just really fascinated by the whole thing. And the more that I learn, the more it's just like, okay, you need to do it. But even my mind, I'm trying to unwind. I'm trying to get out of the thought of, oh my God, it's my pee. Like, really, this is my pee. So I've been talking to Rodney about that also, that it's also, even for me, like someone that's really interested in the topic, to come to terms with this as a healing mechanism instead of a waste product.
right.
Devin, you're muted, Mom.
You're
It's
muted.
the dance of learning and unlearning, right? You
Right.
got to do both. If you're going to get anywhere, you've got to be able to dump your cup out and pretend that you're not the smartest person on the planet, and there might be something you don't know. And so when this came up at the Health Freedom Symposium, and then I come backstage, I'm listening to everybody like dive deeper, and I'm like, all right, when you sit next to truth and you're quiet and still, and you hold it up and say, is this truth? And you just know. And every time I light up the same way when Rodney goes, because I know there's divinity in his message. And I'm certain of it. Now I don't understand it or understand it yet, but I'm here to learn.
Absolutely. And that's the biggest thing. Well, isn't it a waste product? Well, we got to understand that it is blood filtration. It is not waste filtration. And we've been duped, because the first thing that you were taught was to go pee in the potty. So this is in the front line of the cognitive dissonance that will challenge people, because when you dive into the research that I'm going to present, which I have over 20 books, I have testimonial after case study from anything from tuberculosis to cancer. I mean, the list goes on. And I'm not I'm going to say I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, I can't say whatever terminology you want to say to protect yourself. But what I will say is that anybody who taps into this practice, when you know, okay, that it comes out of your sacral organ, which is the same that creates life. And another practice that I do is semen retention. So semen retention, meaning you do not release your seed. I don't release my seed because I'm losing pints of blood. 1 drop of semen is 40 drops of blood. So every time that you deplete yourself of your life force, you're losing your life. It's the fountain of youth. So the more that you retain your seed, and then the more that you filter, okay, this plasma and this blood back in, the more energy you have. And Alec is a testament. I stayed with him for a month. He's seen how I got down with my entire protocol, and he's seen that all I do all day, every day is I loop it, I snort it, I drink it, I put it all over my face, all over my skin. You do enemas, and it's the perfect medicine that if you make a mistake and you poison yourself, it goes in there and acts as the V word, which I don't know if you want to say anyway, we already said it, and it comes out there and is the highest antibody to clear out any poisons that you put into your body to keep you protected because you are made self-sustaining. Now, when we get into the filtration process, it goes into these tiny little units called nephrons in the glomerular sac. Okay, what we think that the kidneys do in the function of the liver, which I'm going to break this down in my Urine, my course, you're going to see the whole layout so you can really see it and understand it. But it comes out perfect. It comes out perfect. 95% blood, 2% urea, and 35 other 100 different constituents that are going to act as the liquid consciousness, as Krystal Tini said, and give a euphoric effect. And it really tap into your creativity and your Kundalini energy, where my mind, how sharp it is, my spirituality, the things that I see and I tap in because they try to block this. I go to places that you never thought or imagined. And this is coming from a dude who grew up in Boston. If you told me this, I'd be like, what are you, out of your mind? You know what I mean? So this is something that it's going to take a lot for people to really grasp. But once you grasp it and once you dive into it and once you see the knowledge, once you see the studies, once you really want to learn it and you don't want to push back on it, it's very simple. Life is very simple. You were made perfect. You are the perfect creation that God made you. And once you understand that, you are going to live a life full of vibration and protection.
Yes.
I think it's, this paradigm shift, the doctors panel at the symposium, I'm just going to keep referencing that because that event was just so amazing. But, it came up that we've got to shift from, me sicky, you fixie to this, the doctor of the future is the patient and people stepping in and owning their responsibility in the game. And so as we paint the vision, future, into this next year, do you guys agree that it feels like we're hitting that critical mass, we're hitting that tension where the game's different now than it was at the start of this year, and the temperature of freedom, health freedom, all the conversations it's different. What do you guys see coming into the new year? What are you focusing on? What are you doing to continue to be your best advocate, to create your best life? What's the focus, and what do you see for the collective as we turn the page? Whoever wants to go first.
Ben, you want to take it?
Sure.
Ben, take that.
Yeah, I think what's beautiful is, first of all, people are waking up. What was an underground battle with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Del Bigtree and Dr. Sherry Tenpenny and some of these pioneers in this movement trying to wake people up to big pharma and what's going on, that wasn't on the radar to majority of humanity 2 years ago, and now it's front and center, and this is beautiful. So there's this double-edged sword where, yes, maybe this is needed to be created to wake people up to the bigger dangers in society and the truth behind these systems, right? And so, and Krystal and Rodney and I were talking earlier today, and we were saying, this goes beyond just health. It's the financial systems, it's the agricultural systems, it's just all of these things in society. There's those in power always want to gain more power and control, and it's just how things happen. But I think what's happening now more than anything is people are waking up to the level of corruption and deception, but they're also waking up to the possibilities of these greater solutions that are available, like Rob Reiner and his crop swap, finding that you can eat organic and eat local. The idea of alternative currencies with cryptocurrencies and some of this. So for me, I think in terms of becoming the next level in 2022 is I just want to continue to represent the best I can. I want to demonstrate and lead by example. I'm constantly absorbing knowledge the moment I get up to learn about these new systems, you know, because one of the beauties is it's not so much about fighting against the system as it is creating the new systems and following it, just exiting. You know, okay, we don't like what our kids are being taught in school. Homeschooling co-op. There's this new solutions, and homeschooling's doubled in the last year. You know, so there's these possibilities that people are saying, you know, we could be thriving as a society. You know, we look at some of these people and just see the energy and enthusiasm and and passion that we have towards life. And so, you know, it is about focusing on living our best lives and hopefully radiating that and having people start to ask questions and question what's going on out there, and realizing that we don't have to go towards the way of the Great Reset. The Great Awakening is the window for the Great Awakening is here. So we have this opportunity to strike. And I wake up every morning thinking about that, and it gets me out of bed.
Yep. Krystal, Rodney, either of you got a message of hope to the collective in terms of this in the future and what you're feeling and where it feels like we're going from here?
Yeah. So for me, I mean, in the beginning of this, I think I like snapped people right out of bed. Like they were like, who's this crazy person that's just yelling into the screen all the time? And maybe she is just insane, or maybe she has some valid points that I should possibly look into. Did all that, right? So now for me, I want my message to be just one of empowerment and to let people know that the power is all inside of us. For too many years, we've been looking outside of ourselves for a leader. Like, who can lead me somewhere? You know, that our government, it's like, oh, well, what if they tell me what to do? Like, I'll just be able to live my life. Like, we have to take our own lives and our own selves by the balls and literally just do what makes us happy. Make your own decisions. We've lost so much leadership or leaders in the world because the propaganda is so strong and people just want to be led. They want to be corralled, whether it's to their demise or not. I mean, it's solely up to the collective. But for us, I think that we've all done a great job of waking people up, but now it's time to lead people back inside themselves. And Rodney's message is similar to that with his whole thing with the plasma therapy. Everything is within you. So how do we rewire the mind without a limiting belief system? I have so many limiting beliefs from my childhood, or maybe I wasn't good enough, or maybe, well, I can't afford that. All these small things that are in your mind, and how to rewire it so that your reality becomes completely different. Your reality is not based on fear. Your reality is not based on limitations. You are limitless. We are all limitless beings. And if all of us had a mindset like that, and as hard as it is to get inside of your conscious and subconscious mind to rewire it all, it is possible. And if we all had that kind of power, this world would be a very different place. We would not be in the position that we're in, because they would never be able to control anything that we can do, because we control ourselves and our minds.
Rod?
Well, health, freedom for humanity. You look at the word health, it's heal thy if you're trying to be healthy. So you need to heal thyself to truly be healthy. This doesn't mean you eat cauliflower and you get a workout once in a while. This means once you rise, because I don't like to say good morning, I like to say grand rising, because morning, I'm not mourning my death. I am rising every single day, and I'm going out and I'm getting sunlight. Now, if you can't get sunlight, go ahead and take your bare feet and take those shoes off and ground with this earth and get into nature and charge. Because when I talk about staying away from density, I don't mean staying away from nature. Go hug a tree, go get into nature, go meditate, go do some breath work and get connected to this planet. Even though they have ruined the electromagnetic fields, that's fine, because we still have the electronic magnetic fields within us. So by taking back your power in that regards, the plasma is so important, and it is not a therapy. So when people call it urine therapy, this is a way of life. This is the way of my life, and it should be the way of your life. You got to envision yourself 9 months. That little baby, that fetus, you were swimming for 9 months in these fluids that you never return to. That is your protection. That's your development. And that is what's going to nourish you and keep you protected. So whether it's 5G or if you're loading yourself with an acidic environment, it's going to keep you protected. So that is a huge piece of what I say, but it's not everything. It's not one thing when you want to heal. It is everything. Your thoughts create your reality. I listen to affirmations all throughout the day. I say, I am loved. I am worthy. I am strong. So these are the things that people need to shift. Then the lymphatic system going. You got to get blood flow. You always got to stay moving. Be conscious of everything that you're putting. And I was talking to Ben and Krystal about our vibration and the laws of the universe. We are all one. We are like an ocean. Okay. We are all unique though. Our waves cut and they're sharp and they're smooth. Some are a little more vibrant, some are more shy. But when we tap in and understand this, that your vibration is what's going to attract. People focus on the law of attraction. But if your vibration is high, that's what you're going to attract. But if you're consistently in this matrix, worried about what Biden's doing, worried about what Trump's doing, worried about everything day to day, and you're keeping yourself on social media low vibrational and you're not tapping in, that's where your vibration is going to stay. So we need to raise our vibration. We need to keep it high, and that is what you're going to attract. So regardless whether you're in this movement and in this space and you're consistently poisoning yourself with not only the food, but your mind with everything's going on, you're never taking time for yourself and how beautiful that earth is our playground. And we're here to dance, have fun, get into the sun. And this is what I'm trying to teach people, is those things are the real food, and all the minerals and all the proteins and all the enzymes and all the benefits are in your plasma. So if you loop it and you get accustomed to what the true food is, you are going to be truly self-sovereign and protected in this beautiful earth or playground that we call Earth.
Let's go.
I love it. I love it so much. And it's hope-filled. It's, again, it's that truth. You sit close enough to the fire, you know it's real. We've got a few minutes left. I'd invite each of the three of you and anyone watching to close your eyes for a minute and just replay where you were on New Year's Eve, kicking from 2019 into 2020, and we're all going about life as, quote, normal. And then a few months in, all of a sudden the world falls on its head. And I just want everybody to take a deep breath and witness yourself from the eagle view of what you went through from March of 2020 to this present moment, of what we, the collective, have been through since then. And healing takes time, and the only way out is through. But to the three of you sitting here today, and you're thriving through this, when you go back through that, what's been the biggest lesson? What's been the biggest gift from the pain? If you go back and you just observe, I would love to hear from each of you what you think the biggest blessing to you or to all of us has been.
Okay, I'll go first. The biggest eye opener was how badly people want to be connected. And as much as we were disconnected, we all migrated towards one another through all these events and all these things. And that just goes to show you like how much people really do crave love and unity. In a world where propaganda tells us otherwise, that we're a racist society and that, you know, you have to be a certain way and just dividing us in every way possible by religion or whatever beliefs that you have, we realize that that's not really the truth. The truth is togetherness. And if this didn't happen, we would all still be living our lives exactly as we lived it before. And, you know, we're all on a mission. Our mission is to bring people together and to empower people. And without this ever happening, like there wouldn't be a great awakening. This is the best time of my life. In a really, really strange way. I have flourished through this in helping people stand up even for themselves when they didn't feel that they ever could. So that's my takeaway.
Men?
Yeah. Gosh, you know, I feel the same way, Krystal. You know, the idea that this last 2 years, although the most trying, the most challenging, also some of the best 2 years of my life, and on a personal level, as well as how I see the world going forward. You know, I mentioned in the beginning of the conversation, the idea that, you know, about integrity, and I was not living in integrity. I felt one way and I was not speaking out, and that silence was literally killing. Well, it was literally, yeah, it was changing my vibration inside. It was, I didn't respect myself. I didn't want to look at myself in the mirror, you know. And so I realized that when I finally came to the point of speaking out, and my good friend John Morelli, Johnny Juicer, he's like, why don't you come on my platform and let's talk? And I said, gosh, but what about all the people in my community and my friends and family? But it was really the most liberating experience that I had up until that point in that year. And I just felt great. And I thought, maybe I'll talk a little bit about this. But I just kicked the door in and just started speaking everything that was in my heart and everything I believed. And there was no holding back. And that, from that day forward, I lived in so much more harmony and peace. And I think that everybody is looking for, you know, the quick fix or the diet or something. But in reality, until we're living in alignment, we're not going to find that peace no matter how healthy we are. And there's a lot of people saying, well, I appreciate you speaking up and I appreciate you taking the leadership role. But I don't think this is left for just a few leaders in a community. Everybody who's listening now is the leader in this community, because there are billions of humans and there's maybe tens of thousands of people watching. So it's the idea that we need every single one of us to come together. And I really hope to inspire more people to start to help to free the world through their voice, but you're going to free yourself through your voice. And you're going to come into harmony and peace and alignment through living what you're thinking and believing. So I'll leave that as one of the key takeaways from this last couple of years.
The educational system needs to crash and burn. Politics need to crash and burn. The healthcare system, third leading cause of death, needs to crash and burn. And ahead of that is cardiovascular cancer. So what I realize is I'm no longer participating, which I never really participated. But we need to understand that it's two wings, same bird. Okay? Republicans, Democrats, there's only two parties for a reason, whether you're an elephant or a donkey, red, blue. Why isn't there one party, or why isn't there a decision that we can come together? Because if you act a certain way, you're going to be put to the right. If you act a certain way, you're going to be put to the left. But why can't I be right here? And that's where we get into all this division. If you say that you're one way and you don't like the mask because you have the science, or you don't like the jab, you're a Republican. If you do wear it and you have that knowledge of you think it's going to protect you, you are a Democrat. Now, whatever your science and your ideology is with that, that is creating a form of division. Whether you're a vegan or you're a carnivore, that is a form of division. Okay, I can go on and on and on, but everything is to divide and to conquer. So the less that you participate and the more you get in tune, mind, body, soul, you are going to be able to understand souls. We had your soul seeing souls. You are in this physical avatar, having experience with your soul, and you are going to elevate. Okay, you are going to continue to live on forever. So when you unravel all the destruction, realize that there is so much love, and love is the highest frequency. So if you're in worry or if you're in fear, you have to shift your paradigm, and how you shift it is through repetition. Repetition is how you shift your paradigm. And Ben and Krystal can say, if you want to be master at yoga, or if you want to get your body right, it's all about repetition. So if you take your life and you have somewhat of a routine that you slowly progress, and you slowly, day by day, because this is a healing journey. I don't expect you guys to be throwing back your plasma. I don't expect you to be hanging from a pole like Ben with your legs out. I don't expect you to be doing crazy yoga poses like Krystal. But what I do want you to do is be conscious of every single decision that you're making every day, and lead with love, even when people come at you with the destruction and evil. So always lead with love as best as you can.
That's it. That's it. Oh my goodness. When Krystal, with the soul tribe and the way everything's been woven together, definitely one of my top blessings, right? In 1,000 years, would we have ever found each other had this all not happened? And Ben, having to face ourselves in the mirror and look at our own shadows and go, I am not like living in my truth, and the freedom and liberation that comes with setting your voice free and asking yourself hard questions. And then Rodney, I mean, that when you talk about the collapse of the systems, death doesn't have to be a bad thing. Maybe, I mean, who wants the normal that we had? We weren't happy then. We were sick and tired. It's been a state of dis-ease in our culture for decades. This is it. And with the death of these systems will come the rebirth of the new ones. And it's these conversations of why we have the team behind the scenes is pouring in the hours to bring you guys this content, and the people watching at home. I have a whole page of activating lessons from 5G to inner work and mindset to plasma therapy. I mean, they dropped a lot of gold in 1 power hour. So again, thank you to the three of you, and the light you shine into the darkness of social media. You all are lighthouses to more people than you probably can know. So thank you so much for your time today and your service over the last few years.
Thank you so much, Devin. You're amazing. I'm grateful to be a part of this amazing panel, and with you as well. Thanks so much.
Oh, I love you guys. All right, everybody, stick around, go hydrate, maybe visit the bathroom, fill your cup with some goodness.
You.
And then you're back here because we're going into conscious music with Alan, Zuby, and Hi-Rez, and Jimmy Levy, and Mike Winter. So we love you. We'll see you soon.
Love you guys.
Love you
Adios.
guys.
Love, big love, big love. You hail you.
A gathering of the tribe.